What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and we're getting some more information on the Matt Walsh hack that is, apparently far worse than we previously thought, given it's, got what he's 20 years of his emails, his tax forms, W-2s, his private conversations with Ben Shapiro, Joe Rogan, Steven Crowder. All this stuff is now could be floating around the web at any point, and some of it already is. Perhaps the most concerning part of it is, at least according to the hacker in the interview they gave, there was a source close to Matt that turned on him to give him that, or they used a source around there. I don't know. Sometimes people quote anonymous sources to cover their tracks. Sometimes they're telling the total truth. I have no idea. Please don't hack me, hacker. But this is an interesting story. And the fact, of course, that Wired ends up getting a journalist suspended from Twitter for soliciting Matt's private documents. Looks like they actually got them, and they've published some of them, which I won't share, but I will share what the hacker has said and some of the information that they have. And this is clearly a nightmare scenario for the Daily Wire team. Who knows what's actually in all of that stuff? So, but fortunately for Matt, he's got his own independent reporting, his own independent team behind him to support him, and that's the importance of having platforms that aren't owned by Google and YouTube and things of that. That's why we're funding that's why we're pushing hard to fund the Publica. Our goal is to get to 10% today. I just saw a teaser of Lauren Southern and Anna Slatt's show. You're going to see it later. It's absolutely hilarious. We just shared a teaser of Savannah Hernandez's new show, or On the Street Reporting, that I think is doing very well on Twitter. It's getting tens of thousands of views on Twitter. All of that is only possible because of people backing us directly at thepublica.com. If you want to read about the goals that we have, what we want to do, we're being completely transparent. Rather than do a GoFundMe and say, hey, we're going to deliver this thing if you give us money, we decided to put it out there first and then market it. So I would really appreciate if you backed us over there, and the team over there, so we can provide an alternate platform. We're powered by Rumble, of course, too. The hacker who hijacked Matt Walsh's Twitter was, quote, just bored. The breach of the right-wing provocateur was simply a way of stirring up drama, the hacker tells Wired. But the damage could have been much worse. The hacker who claims to have compromised Twitter account of Matt Walsh, I'm going to edit out all their, their opining, calling him far-right provocateur and all this other garbage, said that he was just doing it to stir up controversy and sow chaos on Twitter. If that was all he was after, mission accomplished. Well, now we know it was a boy, apparently, because we know Wired left-wing media would not have misgendered. Walsh's first account appeared compromised on Tuesday after a series of out-of-character posts appeared on his feed. They included jabs at fellow conservative media figures, including colleagues at the Daily Wire, host Ben Shapiro, in a tweet directed at Shapiro. A hacker who goes by the name, the alias Doomed, wrote, "You know what you did. You're okay. We know that." Other tweets include this. Walsh, who hosts a Daily Wire podcast named after himself, has been frequently characterized as a, quote, online troll. He's previously described himself as a okay, I'm not going to go into all that. Due to his efforts to foment attacks against the LGBTQ community, that's an opinion, right? And in media denigrating trans people, in particular as groomers, Walsh drew criticism over a recently resurfaced series of remarks where he refers to girls as young as 16. I'm not going to go into that. Again, Wired is really writing a hit piece here. The hack was accomplished. Doomed says using a technique known as SIM swapping, the incident typically involves hackers tricking a cellular provider into switching a victim's phone number to a SIM card the hackers control, rather than the one in the victim's phone. Doomed, however, claims that Walsh's phone was compromised with the help of an insider. In addition to his Twitter account, Walsh's Google and Microsoft accounts appeared to have been compromised, granting Doomed unfettered access to his private emails. Now, I don't know. The SIM card thing, insider, maybe that means they figured out who's a cell phone provider, and maybe it's actually somebody inside, let's say an iPhone, it's AT&T or Verizon or something like that. Maybe, somebody actually who works at the phone companies don't like them. Perhaps an activist, perhaps a trans person, perhaps someone who is self-described ally. Who knows? Several screenshots were provided as proof of intrusion, including an apparent copy of his W-2 tax form, which lists his employer as Bent Key Services, the publishers of Daily Wire. Other images include direct messages on Twitter from Shapiro from 2017, emails between Walsh and the conservative commentator Steven Crowder, host of Louder with Crowder podcast, dated March 2014, and a photo of Walsh holding up a paper dated November 2020, apparently used to authenticate some sort of accompanying message. The emails between Walsh and Crowder are largely benign. So they sent the materials to Wired, by the way, and Wired's reviewing it. I mean, this is actually disgusting. What this really is doing is Wired solicited hacked materials, known hacked materials, and is reporting on it. Something that the New York Post was falsely accused of doing, but banned from Twitter anyway. So introducing himself before he and Walsh opined on the imminent collapse of cable news industry, and growing obsolescence of talk radio, talking about shrinking market shares. Walsh, a former terrestrial radio host himself, remarks. Walsh goes on to say that it's his primary goal is to grow his personal brand for profit. Quote, there's certainly plenty of money to be made when you can get millions of hits online, and I'm a capitalist and I have a family, so I've decided to start getting serious about that. Other screenshots appear to show the hacker in the midst of compromising Walsh's accounts, triggering authenticating requests, receiving the SIM card swap device, attacks that Walsh could have prevented using an authentication app instead of receiving security codes via SMS, or upgrading his defenses with USB token, such as YubiKey. Twitter, that's not true. If somebody just takes your SIM card and you're already logged in on your phone, I'm pretty sure you're just cooked, right? I mean, maybe not. I guess once you have the phone, I guess you explain it in the comment section down below. The hacker says SMS is terrible for security. The hacker, who is acknowledged he was merely bored and felt like stirring up some drama, also used Walsh's account to ping what he called a silly, ironic LGBTQ rap song written by a friend. One tweet read, I'm not going to read that. I noticed he panicked and removed his iCloud and stuff, Doom said, adding he really didn't care what Walsh had stored on it. I literally only wanted his Twitter account to make stupid tweets, and it worked. Both sides are arguing over it. I do believe that a lot of hackers are just like anarchists. I've never really met one before. But I know that there's certainly the ones I've reported on didn't really, most of them are left-wing, but I'm sure they're all right-wing, and I'm sure that many of them are just apolitical. So maybe that'd be an interesting interview to do sometime. Likely to the chagrin of Walsh's online detractors, Doomed says he has no plans to continue plaguing the self-described fascist, telling Wired that he's already signed out of Walsh's accounts and even tried returning his access. Attempts at contacting Walsh have so far failed, Doom said. So that has kind of been the MO when like a big account gets hacked. You end up getting, the hackers don't, like when Buffalo Wild Wings, they almost never end up leaking DMs. I don't know if there's like a separate legal, maybe there's like an escalation to hacking law. If you do that, like the DMs never get released except for apparently to journalists at Wired. And I really, really hesitate to call it a journalist. And this is the writer was suspended. But again, this is everybody out there is pretending it didn't happen. You see Wired. Neither Dell's story nor his Twitter feed contained hacked materials. We do not believe his account violated the policy. Yes, it used Twitter to solicit hacked materials that we now know he received because of that solicitation. Like, if it'd be the same as me doing this YouTube video and being like, hey, Doomed, send me over all of Matt Walsh's DMs. So because I just want to make sure you did it. I don't, I don't know. I just don't, I don't believe it. I think that he knew what he was doing. And you see a lot of people here, pointing out soliciting hack material. And then he actually tweeted, they got everything. And he was showing the actual material, showing the material that he had gotten. So like, this Wired magazine is going to end up getting sued. I think that the Daily Wire is not going to screw around here. I think they're probably going to put a lot of pressure on not only Wired, but, finding I think that most of these hackers are too smart to get caught. It's the same way that swatters never get caught. Like, there's actually some pretty basic stuff that most anybody can Google and figure out how to do. So that they just get away with the stuff forever, unless like the FBI is actually on it or something like that. These people don't get caught. That's why it's best to say, I appreciate you, hackers. Like, I think it's interesting, but it's also particularly slimy of this journalist, whom almost certainly Matt Walsh will sue, because he said, my entire life was laid bare as expected. The motivation, they don't know, but what I will tell you is we're going to get answers to all these questions. We're going to get them right now, and there's going to be consequences. That includes journalists who solicited stolen information from my phone. So he's talking about suing that journalist, and I think he should. I really do think he should. It's posting like Buffalo Wild Wing sauce contains whatever the Buffalo Wild Wings hack at. I mean, that's funny, but actually sending like your tax documents and stuff like that to journalists who solicited it online, left-wing journalists in particular. I fully support Matt suing him, and I hope he wins. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. Head on over to the public. We're doing a membership drive right now. We're at 7.37%. Got to get to 10% today. Can't do it without you. We want to provide a new, fresh taste to the alternatives that are out there right now. Obviously, love to see you in the members Discord and things like that. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. We'll talk to you again real soon.